Today we're continuing in Unfinished Tales of Turin among the Outlaws. If you're new here, welcome to Heart of a Halfling. We talk about Lord of the Rings and do some Lord of the Ring things. So let's get started. So this section of Unfinished Tales, we continue on with Turin. He's now wandering the woods outside of Doriath, believing he's an outlaw. We learn about a group of outlaws named the Garwaith, or the Wolfmen. They're led by a man named Forweg, and the strongest in the group is Androg. And they control a territory in the woods in the western marches of Doriath. And this is where Turin is wandering around. So they quickly learn that he's in their territory. They surround him. Turin is made aware of them and says, "Who are you? I thought only orcs attacked men, but clearly I was mistaken." Forweg says, "This is going to be a mistake that you rue, because anybody that comes into our territory, we kill, or they ransom something off to try and keep their life." Well, Turin snickers at this and goes, "I'm not going to ransom anything, and the only way you're going to take something off of me is if you kill me, and this is going to come at a price to you." And he says this, very boldly, very cocky-like, but really Turin is a little fearful because everybody that's around him, he realizes, has bows and arrows. Nobody's close enough for him to just pull out his sword to leap at and attack. But he is at the edge of a stream, so he thinks he can just grab a rock. So he bends down to grab a rock. And in doing this, one of the men, who's so irritated with his cockiness, shoots off an arrow towards Turin and misses. But this reveals the bowman's position. So Turin, grabbing the rock, throws it and hits the man in the head, breaking his skull, killing him right there on the spot. And Turin says, I might be of more service to you alive than that man over there. Turning to Forweg, he says, "If you're the captain, you really shouldn't allow your men to shoot without your command." Forweg says, "I don't, and that man was quickly punished for what he did. I would like somebody like you on our group instead." Well, one of the men in the band named Ulrad says, "This is a really odd way for you to join a fellowship, to kill a man and then take his place." Well, Turin says, it wasn't unchallenged, but if you like, maybe you and someone else can come and fight me, weapon or strength alone, and we'll see if I'm worth being part of the group. Well, Ulrad and another man, who turns out to be Androg, are both looked at to be, the ones to fight Turin. And Ulrad puts down his weapon. Androg puts down his weapon, turns to Turin, and he's like, "I'm no match for you. Like, you're obviously strong and skillful. You're a dangerous man I don't want to fight against. What's your name?" And Turin gives the name Nethan the Wrong. And so now Nethan / Turin is part of this band of outlaws. And he quickly, earns his praise for his strength and his skillfulness with the sword. And during one of their travels, they've camped out in a spot near a group of homes of men in the south of Teglin. And they've been there for some time. And Turin realizes that Forweg and Androg, who are close friends, are missing. And they've been missing for a little bit. So he goes to Ulrad and, asks, where are they? Ulrad says, "Yeah, you need to mind your own business. They're off doing their own thing." Well, this irritates Turin, obviously. So he kind of goes off and takes a walk to get away from the group. And when he does, he finds a woman running out of a thicket, running towards him, scared, frightened. Her clothes are all tattered. And she runs up to him. And Turin, seeing that this woman is afraid, immediately draws his sword and goes to the thicket that she just ran out of, because now somebody else is coming out of it too. Without seeing who it is, he kills the man. Well, it turns out he killed Forweg. And soon after, Androg follows, and the woman who's now holding on to Turin says, kill him, kill him. If you do, I'll give you 2 wolf heads. Like, kill him. And Turin asks Androg, like, how far is her home? Androg says it's about a mile away, but if you let her go, they're just going to send people our way to kill us. Turin just kind of shrugs him off and tells the woman basically to go home. And then he tells Androg, we need to come too. If you want, you can take time to bury your captain, but otherwise we need to go. And so Turin just leaves. He goes back to the campsite where he sees that the men are becoming restless and upset that Forweg has left them in the same spot for so long, and that, this is going to cost them their lives if they stay any longer. So Turin says, well, why don't you choose a new captain, because Forweg is dead. And Olrad says, how do you know? Was he killed by bees and you were there when he was killed? And Turin goes, no, I killed him. But I didn't kill Androg, and he'll be here soon to, tell you his side of the story. And Turin now proceeds to tell them what happened and gets onto them for doing these kind of things, like for attacking women, basically. Like, this isn't what they're supposed to be doing. This is sort of the work of those following Morgoth. And soon after telling his side of the story, Androg appears, says, look, nobody has come after us. And he's carrying Forweg's weapon. And Turin's kind of upset with, Androg joking about what had just happened and kind of gets on to him about it. And Androg now gives his side of the story and says, I don't know why Nethan was there, but it was good that he was, I guess, and that by the time I showed up, Forweg was already dead. And that the woman must have liked him enough to go home and not say anything, and we're not dead yet. And then and that he was glad that Turin spared his life. And so now Turin is saying basically look, either make me your captain and I'm going to lead you the way I see fit, or let me go, because I don't want to be a part of this. You guys are doing things that are only worthy of those under Angband. And many of the men were ready to attack Turin, but Androg says, no, don't kill him. If we try to fight him, he's going to kill more of us. It's not going to be worth it. And laughs, saying that, Turin kills to make room, so don't bother fighting him. More of us are going to die. And so one of the guys in the group named Algun says, well, then he's the best man among us. And now the group have been convinced that Turin should be the one to lead them. Now going over to Beleg, who's been searching for Turin for some time. He learns that Turin is going by the name Nethan, that he's with a group of outlaws named the Wolfmen. And Beleg also learns that soon orcs are going to be coming into the land. So Beleg now has a sense of urgency to go and find Turin, to protect Turin. And he's telling himself that, Turin's been trained, he has an elvish weapon, he should be okay, but still he wants to hurry up and find Turin. And not long after finding out this news, orcs do end up coming into the Brithiac and begin to plunder and destroy and do what orcs do. However, Turin and his group of outlaws are aware of the orcs. And while the men want to go and attack, Turin is like, no, that would be foolish of us. We need to go and scout out and see how many orcs there are, what we're up against, kind of thing. So Turin takes a man named Orleg, and they go to the orc encampment to kind of see what's going on. And Turin and Orleg are found out. They're discovered because 3 of the orc scouts end up seeing Turin and Orleg. And so Turin and Orleg are now trying to fight back and trying to escape. Orleg ends up being shot down, but Turin is able to get away. And so he goes back to his group. However, the orcs, in seeing Turin and his weapons and just seeing him, and they're close to Nargothrond, are worried that if they make too much noise, if something goes wrong, that Nargothrond will come and attack them. And they believe that Turin and Orleg might be scouts for Nargothrond. So anybody that the orcs have captured up to this point, they kill all of them and they pack up camp and move. So Turin is now on his own. He's trying to get back to his encampment, or to his group of outlaws. And 3 days have passed, and the men are becoming concerned. They think Turin and Orleg must be dead. And at this point, Beleg finally finds them. And he comes forward, he has his hands up, no weapons. He's trying to show himself friendly. And even though Beleg is clearly trying to not scare anybody, he still ends up scaring them. Androg comes out behind Beleg, wraps a rope around him, and they tie down Beleg's arms, and they're like, "Who are you? We don't have guests. We're gonna kill you," kind of thing. And Beleg's like, no, don't kill me. I'm a friend of Nethan. I just want to talk to Nethan. Well, Ulrad and the group are kind of paranoid. They think he's a spy, and so they end up just tying him up to a tree and leaving him there without food or water for a few days. And Turin finally gets back to camp to find his friend Beleg tied up to a tree, looking beaten, thirsty, hungry, and Turin quickly unties him and then reprimands the group for doing such an awful thing, and that only orcs and those of Angband torture their prisoners. And so this kind of puts a change on Turin to lead the group differently, that they're only going to attack and hurt and kill those of Angband, those of the army of Morgoth. And he asks Beleg for forgiveness and begins to, do things to heal him and help Beleg get better. And so now Beleg is telling Turin, now that he's healed and doing better, he tells Turin, hey, you should come home. You're not an outlaw anymore. Everything's been revealed to Thingol and everything's good. You should come home now. And Turin's kind of fighting against it and saying, no, I'm part of this group now. I am an outlaw. I can't go back because of what I've done. I hear what you're saying, but no, I can't go back to Thingol. This is the next part of my life now. And Turin ends up asking Beleg, why is Thingol pardoning him? And so Beleg, says that somebody had seen you and seen that you were the one first attacked and that you were only defending yourself and that you weren't going to kill Saros. And so Turin asks, well, who witnessed that? And so Beleg says, Nellis. It was in the woods when all of this happened. She's the one who spoke for you. And he goes, from my childhood? And Beleg's like, yeah. And Turin's kind of is like, wow, I haven't thought about her in a while. That's kind of wild that she's the one who basically saw everything and really kept him from Thingol's punishment. Beleg sees what's kind of going on with Turin and the grief that Turin has over his just life in general. And Beleg makes a comment that he thinks that elves and men probably shouldn't meet and mingle with one another. That's probably not good for them to be together, because it seems like bad things happen when the groups come together. And Turin just kind of sits in silence about this, and him and Beleg just kind of sit with one another and think on everything that has happened. And that's kind of how this section ends, with them just sitting with one another. So there you have it. Turin among the outlaws. There you go. He's an outlaw now. He's a real cocky one, and it seems to do him wonders. He definitely is able to charm his way to the top, and that's what he's done. But he is, I guess, turning the group around, not letting them just attack people anymore, but only attack those of Angband. So that's a good thing. He is still an outlaw, though. So, not for long. This man will take many, many turns in life before the end. So, there we have it. But there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. And I hope you guys have a wonderful, blessed week. And of course, may your homes be filled with food and cheer. Bye.